So, Louis, hey, how you doing?
Hello, Ma. How's everyone doing?
He's actually even wearing shorts today, and he had like a young grass hat around his neck. It's so interesting to see you dressed like that, Louis. I'm always seeing you with like long Chinese collared shirts or sort of long jerseys.
It's just you gotta be dope. Gotta express yourself, you know. So I kind of push that Eastern philosophy kind of vibe because it taught me a lot.
Oh, okay.
So I've learned a lot of my philosophy. I've built my philosophy based on a lot of things that I learned in, pre times, ancient times.
Lovely.
So that's basically why it's been like this for a long time actually. I mean, my matric dance outfit was like a Chinese kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because of Tekken 3. Because of Forrest Law. He was a martial artist based on Bruce Lee, and I just kind of been gravitating towards that for some time. But now I understand why when I look back.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we're going to be talking about a lot in this conversation. I think, firstly, I'd just like to sort of let the viewers now, because we are live on visuals, and also the listeners know.
Hello. Yeah.
And also just to let the listeners know where to find me. If you're looking for me, find me on the socials. My name and my handles are at _letter L. Also at Conversations with My Big Sister on both Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook as well. So if you're looking at me, give me a shout out, and also just DM me and let me know what are these conversations that you'd like for us to have. What do you want us to unpack on in terms of topics, and who would you like for us to bring into studio to speak with? So we'd love to hear from you guys. So Louis, if you can just let us know, who are you? Where do you come from? Who raised you?
My name is Llewellyn. I basically, on Instagram I'm Master Louis at Master LUI _ Twitter and Instagram. What I am right now is, I'm an inventor, I guess. I'm a writer. I'm a mentor. I'm an organizational trainer. Getting my book out next month.
What's your book about?
It's called The Mastery Code. It's about self-mastery, money mastery, and purpose. It's my philosophy that I teach. I'm basically, I grew up in Centurion, Pretoria, and then I've been in Joburg ever since, and now I'm in Cape Town. So basically, over the years, I was in Joburg, I went to Wits. I studied economic science.
Yeah.
Finished that. I didn't go to the graduation, nor have I seen my degree ever since.
Hectic.
I just kind of decided that I needed to give myself a go. At the time, and I just had to basically, give my ideas and my thoughts a try. And so I've always been like a creative kind of person. My mom and my dad kind of raised me like that. More on the creative side, my dad more on the finesse side.
Yeah.
So I was always basically raised to. I had my creativity, but my parents also taught me to be a high achiever, right? So I was also very much isolated when I was younger, not because I chose to, but because I was just into games and computers.
Yeah.
So I was always the weird kid, but I always had an influence on people. I always knew that from it was accidental that it happened that way, but I always was able to go and create things, and people would go and go with them, So I just never knew what that was. So when I got to varsity, in fact I was a junior for 3 months. I got over that and I went to Wits after that, and I think I tried 3 or 4 different degrees.
Yeah.
Got kicked out a couple of times at Wits and eventually fought to get back so I can finish economic science.
Why did you get kicked out?
Because I wasn't interested in what I was studying. I wasn't being taught anything.
Okay.
I was learning more outside from reading than I was from, in class. And my question was really, why is it that at the back of this textbook, it's 2003, but it's 2010 now? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Because ultimately when this book was published, as soon as it left the room, it was outdated. So why are we doing this?
Yeah.
So it just felt as though for me, I wasn't being taught anything. So I prefer teaching myself. And then my only question with that was, where was I going with this? I've been bred to be this amazing thing, but where was I going with this? What I was going to do with it, And that was my problem with it. And I couldn't understand what I had to do in this world. And I go to career days at school, and I couldn't, people would be so frantic about, you have to apply for that grad program. And it wasn't me. And I just didn't do it,
Yeah.
So eventually, economic science made sense for me because there was philosophy in that. There was a lot of mathematics, which was easy for me to do. So I could basically spend more time on YouTube and learn other things that other people, that I didn't have to learn in school.
Yeah.
And that basically started my process. I was doing a lot of creative things on the side here and there, but then it was really in my final year when I had an idea for a product, in 2012. And basically I had an idea to create, we were drinking, we were partying. It was one of those things from Thursday to Sunday. It was a whole thing. And then Monday morning, it was a whole, I had macroeconomics 3 in the morning, 8 a.m. And me and my mate of mine, Kyle, we went out the night before to Latinova actually.
Yeah.
And yes, that was the first time I was trashed, and I was like, wow, what feeling is this? What life is this? And so basically after that, I just had the eureka moment to create something. I was like, why don't we create something that helps the problem where we find the problem in the bars, in the clubs? Why not? And then immediately I left school. I went to Bluebird Shopping Center, just came by Morrow's. I saw they had pills, Essential, all these funny things, and I was like, but no one buys alcohol and goes to chemist and says, let's get some shit for tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's like, now let's create something. So I had an idea, and then I was like, I'm still scared of it, but then that motivated me to finish varsity. I was like, actually, now I've got a reason,
Yeah.
Then 2013 came, and I tried to basically go try get a few jobs here and there, but then the one time with the lady was 45 minutes late, and I was like, I'm not gonna have my dignity like trashed like this. I was like, nah, and I just told myself, actually, this is it. I'm done. I'm walking away from this thing, and I said I'm gonna give myself a try for 1 year. And 6-7 years later, here I am. They have a product. It's nationwide. Pick and Pay. The product is called Lahokla. It's alcohol spelled backwards. You just have a single or double shot with water, sparkling.
It
before
actually
you
really
sleep.
works. I'm not even going to lie.
When did you have it?
I had it when I went with Kanya to go watch our friend perform in the Val, Nana. So we were there and we were drinking. But then what was great about it is that when we were drinking, we felt ourselves going down in life. We were crashing a bit. And we had to drive all the way from the Val back to Joburg that night. Well, the morning, 3 a.m. And we found ourselves drinking Lahokla. We mixed it with water, like a big bottle of water. And as we were drinking our gin and tonic, we then downed the Lahokla. And it's almost like we had energy again and we were alive again.
It has
it's
vitamin B12 in there as well.
It's so bomb.
Yeah. So basically, that was. I mean, it's. I have the product. I mean, like I said, it's nationwide right now. Pick and Pay. It's at all the airports. We are about to start doing UK from January. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So that was basically. But the main thing was that I thought that was what I was supposed to have done. But actually, the truth of the matter is that it wasn't about the fruits for me. It was about understanding the roots. And so in that process, I spent a lot of time by myself, and I made a whole lot of me in all these years that I've been building this thing. Because I went from this into this, and so I've learned a lot about me, and through that I developed a philosophy called the Mastery Code. Basically, where it's basically a combination of self-mastery, money mastery, and purpose. And as time went on, I mean, people started asking me to come speak, and I've been speaking my whole, for the past couple of years right now, but I got tired of people asking me about, let's talk about entrepreneurship. I was like, nah, you keep talking about the business or what people must do, but you're not teaching people how to deal with themselves. At the end of the day, they must deal with who they are every single morning, So then I was like, okay, let's unpack this whole thing. So I went through a process of all those years of unlearning, learning, and relearning. And the book is...
So before you get there, I want to know about those processes. So I want to know about the unlearning. What were the things that, you used to, do, that you learned, that you felt like you needed to be in a position to unlearn before you got to this revelation of the fact that you need to now master yourself before you can, sort of get the fruit?
So, basically what you learn in society is that we're all educated with restrictions, right? So we're born and we're this child that's empty and all knowing. We try everything, we're open to everything. Then somehow education locks us down into the human experience.
Yes.
And then somewhere we become these contained beings, right? And then but there's something about you that's screaming out. There's something about you that you can feel. There's a life inside of you that's separate to what you've been taught, And so for me, the frustration was that I could see that I was taught with restrictions. I was afraid of things. I was afraid of things that I wanted to do inside of me, right? And I was like, no, man. So there's an element of fear that you're programmed with. And I learned about programming and belief systems and psychology. I really went into the stuff. And so I learned that what happens basically is that society, there has to be an element of control on things. And so you're born. I mean, from 0 to 8 is the time when you're basically absorbing everything that's around you. So based from 0 to 8, you don't have any conscious mind. And all you're basically doing is absorbing everything around from your environment. So it's the formative years before you have a conscious mind. You'll have a subconscious mind. So basically, you get your language, you get your personality, you get your personality, religion, everything from your parents, right? Which is what you have to do from the get-go.
Yeah.
Then from 8 upwards, you basically get a conscious mind. But the thing is, those programs you learned from a young age are in you.
Sure.
So the Vatican Church in the 16th century used to say that, give me the child until it's 8 years old and I'll show you the man, right? So those kind of programs stay with you going forward. And I learned, the first thing was that for me to redefine what I want my life to be, I have to first unlearn all the bullshit they taught me with.
Sure.
I had to first get that out. I had to first face that and say, actually, what life do I want? Because now I went to an interview and they told me about career planning. I was like, what the fuck is career planning? What is that?
Sure.
They told me that 20 years from now, this is what I'll be earning. And I was like, nah, I like supercars. This is not going to work for me. Right? It's not going to work for me. So I was like, I needed a new program. And I learned one thing in that process was the fact that where you struggle in life, it's not because of the thing itself. It's because the programs you have don't support that conclusion. So it's like if you are riding and you want to drive a manual car, you want to clutch control a manual car, right? If you can't clutch control the car, is it the car's fault? No, it's your fault. If you learn how to clutch control, you can drive any car. Same thing. Where you struggle in life is not the thing that's the issue. It's your programs don't support that conclusion. So once you learn those programs, you see the thing all of a sudden goes away. That's how our life works. And so that's what for basically led me to teaching and understanding the stuff. And I was like, actually, I need to put this in a philosophy. I need to, because we aren't taught a philosophy of life. We're taught how to die. We can die very well. We're good at that. But what happens in between that? Where do you live? Where do you go and say, actually, I'm going for this? Where do you express yourself? Because the soul wants to express itself. It doesn't want to go and live a copy. It wants to create, not take a photograph of reality. You know what I mean? So the thing is, like, because of that, society controls us, and you see, like, some countries have got more control on its citizens. It's one of those things. So I kind of created the philosophy, and that's what the Mastery Code is. It's a seminar and a book. It's all sounds one of my sponsors. It happens at 54 in Bath Hotel in Rosebank. And I teach the stuff. Fear. I talk about programming, belief system, understanding your inner, your inner voices, how to basically reprogram your subconscious mind. Because it's all subconscious before it's in reality. People like to operate with the reality and what we see, but everything starts because imagination predates reality. You know what I mean? So I learned that, and now it's like it's a philosophy on its own. The book is about that. So like I said, it's 3 parts. It's unlearning first, then learning, then relearning. And then it's self-mastery, meaning how to understand yourself, how to harness yourself, how to express yourself, using all of those what you harness and what you express and what you dig out to basically attract money into it. So basically, how do you build something, invest in what you're doing, to a point where you project it to people and they are like, oh wow, this is interesting, and then they come to you, and when they come to you, they want what you want. What do you want from them? Money. That's how you master money. And when you understand those concepts, there's no limit to how much money you can make. And then it comes down to purpose, meaning contribution. How do you use what you found, who you are, in a way to contribute to society? Because you're here for a reason. You have to leave something behind. You have to be fruitful. If you're not fruitful, forget about it. So that's what life is all about. And we've been steered away from being fruitful. And that's why we struggle how we struggle in life, because we have been taught wrong. Our society, religion, everything has taught us wrong.
Sure. So before we carry on with that conversation, because I think that's where we need to.
A bit darkly.
You didn't. It was actually quite good. So siblings will be back in a couple of minutes. We're just gonna he's gonna go drink some water because he's been wanting water ever since he arrived here, and we have been sort of not giving him water. We want you to die of thirst, Louis. This is our purpose today.
Boom.
So we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. We'll hear from you guys in a couple of minutes. We are going, and we will be back.
I'm alive.
I can hear it. So when we were offline, we were basically just talking about just the concept of religion, and how not just religion, but in terms of society in a whole, how it has been contained and how it's trapped us in this way of thinking and this way of life. And you are saying that, it's quite important for us to sort of break our way out of this, box that in containment that society has imposed on us. So my question to you was, do you not think that those boundaries are necessary for humans? Because there was a conversation I was having recently with a group of friends where, this one guy mentioned, we are animals, we are mammals. And sometimes sort of society boxes us, or religion or whatever, culture boxes us to sort of tame it. Is that the right way of seeing things, or how would you recommend?
Well, the first thing, we're divine. That's number one. Before anything else, you're a divine individual, and that's the first thing you have to accept. So and then from there do we take on the mammal form, and then but we learn so much about the mammal form, the human form. We study this thing so much, we feed this thing so much, we're stressed about this thing, but we don't know about the spiritual form. But the spiritual form is the one that controls everything that happens outside. Right? So you learn, and people want to limit and basically hold those situations down. But at the same time, we're very drawn to masters in the past. We're drawn to the Da Vinci's. We're drawn to the Jesuses of the past. Why are we drawn to these people? We can hear the story and be like, okay, whatever, but something in you relates to that. There's a reason why we don't like losers. Everybody likes a winner, because we relate to something in us innate is saying, yes, that thing over there, I can do that. You know what I mean? So there's an awakening that each of us have, that we have to do. And so the whole thing is that, for me, I don't think, it's not necessarily about limiting people. Is that you don't learn everything at the same go. It's like you learn, then once you master that level, you go to the next step. If you take an elevator, that's when things fall apart. A blessing before its time is a curse. You know, so life takes you in a process of unpacking these things if you want it over time. That's why they say seek and you shall find, but you don't just get it in the same time. You don't go to grade 1, then all of a sudden boom, you're in grade 12. It's a process.
Yeah.
That's the way we do it in physical, but in spiritual it's the same thing. It's an unpacking, it's unlearning, and then you learn, oh wow, I can manifest things. Oh, what I create is real. Oh, if I can see it in my mind, I can hold it in my hand. Oh, then you realize, wow, This is who I
Yeah.
actually am. And then you realize that
Sure.
we've been taught totally going the wrong we've been taught the wrong direction. So it's like, even like, for instance, words like sin, for instance, right? That's a word that it's nothing to do with morals. You know, we've been taught, okay, sinning is about don't steal, don't do this, don't do that, whatever. And we know it's like, when I was younger, I was Christian and I went to school and like there was the altar call. And I was a guy every single Sunday. They're like, yeah, you know, if you've backslidden, put up your hand. And I was like, yo, there I am there saying, Jesus, yo, this week I sinned. I did not this week. And you're trying to be perfect, but you're not perfect, right?
Yeah.
Then I learned as time went on and I started unpacking. I went into like the books of the Bible that were taken out. You
Yes.
know? And you learned that Jesus actually learned in Tibet. You know, you don't know those things. But the word sin isn't necessarily about morally. It's not about what you do right, what you do wrong. But it's about living and understanding that you've been created to be something. So when you deviate from that thing you're designed to be, you're sinning. So you see, if I'm a bird and I'm not flying, I'm sinning. This is why when you look at animals that are in the zoo, their health deteriorates when they're in the zoo. Then when they're in the wild, what happens? All of a sudden they're healthy.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were sinning. And the word righteousness isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding that it's about the word integration, which is to be one. That's what the word holy comes, meaning that let your real self and your outside self be
Your
one.
physical and your spiritual
Be
self.
who you are meant to be. When you realize the situation you're provided for, you meet all the people that you have to meet. Why is it when you're in the place you're supposed to be, you're thriving? Why is that the case? Why? It's designed that way, which is why they say to you that, oh, seek ye first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you. But they say the kingdom is the church. It's not the church. It's within.
Yes.
They already told you this stuff.
Yes.
So we live life trying to figure out everything from outside when everything is within, which is why every single person, all the great teachers, all the great masters speak of isolation. Why is isolation necessary? Because you're alone. Why is it when someone has to be sick? Moses had to have the burning bush. Every single person had to be alone. Muhammad was alone. Buddha was alone. Why? Why
Jesus
is it when you're
was
alone? Exactly.
Yeah.
Why? Because when you're alone, you're not focusing on what's happening out there. You're creating from within. Then you're learning about yourself. And society is designed to keep you away from you, which is why you go to work 9 to 5. Weekends, you're busy with entertainment. And then holidays come, you're traveling. You're distracted 24/7. That's what it is. Divide them, distract them, deceive them, and dominate. That's how society is built.
So I have so many questions inside of me right now. Okay, so like what I want to know is divinity. What is divinity? And when was it when you actually realized I need to actually dig deeper on my divinity? What were you doing so much that pushed you towards that direction?
I mean, your life always leaves clues. When you can look back at your life and you can understand why things happen to you. With us, we always look at life and look at things that happen to us and we're like, oh, that was so bad, that was terrible. And I'm like, that's assuming weakness. You become powerful when you look at your life and say, that was for me. In fact, I chose it subconsciously before I even came here. Let's assume that you chose it. But now when you say you chose it, it makes you more powerful because you're like, actually, these are the cards I was dealt with. Forget about someone else's cards. I'm looking at my own cards and we play these cards the best way I can, right?
Yes.
And so I looked at my life at some point. I was like, as I was living, there was always this power. There was always this. There's this like. You get to a point where like there's things you can't explain that happen to your life. Each one of us have these moments, but we tap into this power only when we're desperate. Why?
Sure.
Why is it when you're in a situation where like it's pear-shaped, right? All of a sudden, somehow, somewhere, you focus so much in this area that wow, something happens, and we call this thing a miracle, right? Then I was like, no, okay, cool. This situation is interesting. This power, I see it. Then when I made this product, I started to learn. There's things in my journey with Lohakla that I can't explain till this day. I can't explain to you how people found me overseas, how this happened, how I found that person, but I was led exactly in the right path to find the exact things that I needed to get this thing done. And I knew nothing. I didn't study chemistry. I didn't do anything. I didn't know anything about bottles. But here I am with a product. How did I do that? And I learned how to control my divinity. I've got a divine spirit that you can learn how to tap into.
Yes.
Not when you're desperate, but at will.
Sure.
And then you start to understand, you become what's known as a divine man, which is what Jesus was. That's what all these people were. They came to earth, they were human beings, but they were not they were not citizens of the planet. They were divine beings on the planet.
Yes.
And each one has the ability to tap into that. Each of us have an ability to tap into that, to that divinity, but we don't do it. And then we wonder why we suffer. And so that's when I learned over the years. I saw when I was doing what I was doing that, oh, I understand why my life was like that. I get why I'm like that. Why? Oh, now I look back and I'm like, oh, because when you're living in destiny, your life makes sense when you look back.
Yes.
Steve Jobs said, connect the dots backwards, not forwards.
Sure.
That's how it works. So why is it when you take on the difficult task, something comes to help you? Why is it when you go against society, you're okay? Yes, you're not thriving yet sometimes in the beginning. I wasn't thriving in the beginning. It was tough. It was painful. I was broke. But eventually all of a sudden you start learning how things are. People look at you and they're like, oh, look at Linda, she's doing so many awesome things. She's, oh my goodness, oh wow. And then we make it a show. Look at me. No.
Yeah.
I don't want people to congratulate me for what I've done. I want my life to be a thing where people look into my life and say, I can also do that. Because every single person can do it if they give themselves the chance and they give themselves the desire to actually go and say, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And if these things have been taught, they told you for a long time what you think you become. How is this? Every single person says this thing over the years.
Yes.
It's repeated over and over and over and over again. Aristotle, Plato, Dante, Goethe. Everybody says this over all these years, and we don't understand this concept.
Sure.
And that's the difference between people living large and living low. It's all a mindset thing.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to.
So now, okay, let's talk about what's going on today. Mm-hmm. With, it's not necessarily even an outburst, or it's a thing that is now recently happening. It's a thing that's always been going on, between men, gender-based violence and men being abusive to women, whether it's sexually or physically or however. And now we're finally talking as women. Now tell me, what is it that is going on with men internally that's causing this, that causes them to be sort of abusive, that causes them to have the desire to want to invade a woman in the way that they do?
Are you talking about abuse or are you talking about rape? You have to differentiate both.
Okay, differentiate it for me. How is it different?
Which one do you want first?
Both. How is it different? How is rape and abuse different?
So abuse obviously comes from anger.
Okay. And rape doesn't.
It's not anger. Rape is desire.
Okay.
So you've got two different aspects. I mean, rape can be towards a female or a man.
Okay.
So it's not anger. It's just the person deciding this. I mean, you must understand that when it comes to, let's start with rape, because I think rape is much more, or let's start with rape.
Okay.
So you must understand that sexual energy is the most powerful energy that we have as human beings. It's the most powerful one, right? So you have an energy, that you have a desire that is so powerful that forces a man in jail to basically reprogram his own mindset to basically rape another man.
Yeah.
When a man goes in there in jail, he was not about men, but then all of a sudden, somehow, somewhere, he's able to rape another man and somehow get his penis to get erect to do that.
Yeah.
This energy is very powerful. So what happens now in society is that you get a situation where a man desires a woman, right? And maybe at some point, maybe the man tried, and I don't know what it is to be a rapist, but what I can definitely agree with is that there's a sexual energy that we men have. Some men have got more than others. I know I've got a very high sexual energy. That's who I am, right? But it needs expression. And when it doesn't find expression, that's when you have problems. So what happens is that now if a man desires a woman, then maybe they've tried. Maybe it's men that have been angry before, they couldn't get girls before. I don't know what the reason is, right? But a man uses what he has to his disposal, which is his strength. And then he decides, okay, cool, I'm going to go and I'm going to have sex with a woman and I'm going to force myself on her. And it's not necessarily about enjoying, because I think the sexual process is an enjoyable process, because if there's consensus, it's an enjoyable process. But this person does not care about whether this person enjoys it or not. So you're seeing that you're being led by a primal instinct. It's a primal desire that you don't care what happens. It's like sex is a possession that you basically have, or it's something that you have over the woman's body. So rape is more of an entitlement. It's an entitlement over the female body that men have.
Okay.
And they feel as though somehow, someway they don't have access to it themselves, or they just feel like maybe they can't hold rejection. Maybe that's the reason.
Yeah.
Because it's men that can't get sex and some men who can get sex, but they just can't get that sex.
Yeah.
And then they feel like, actually, let me force myself on the situation, and then boom. So what you have there is a primal instinct that then meets a desire that then forces the person and the man to basically force himself upon the woman. That's what we're dealing with over there. It's something that has obviously been happening for years.
Yeah.
For years, thousands of years, it's been happening.
Yeah.
It's nothing new.
Sure. So now my thing is, and I remember when we were having a conversation, is how do we then effectively address this? Because when this girl was going, so before I even get to the post office situation, I'd like to talk about, there was a guy that I was watching on television, and he was sort of describing the reason why he raped a certain female. And he raped that female because when he was younger, he was molested. So for him, it was an outlet in terms of his anger. So every time he sees a female, it takes him back, it triggers him to that woman that sort of molested him. So would that also qualify and quantify to what you're saying? Or is it anger based, or what is the problem there? And what causes men? What is it that is inside of men besides entitlement that's causing men? And I understand you said that it's an energy that needs to be channeled, but what else could be a thing that causes different men to do this, and older men as well?
Yeah, that guy, I can say that that'll be an exceptional situation,
Okay.
and other reasons will be the exception also. But I think we have to stick to the rule. Because if we're going to be dealing with exceptional situations, then they're all unique in their own way. But I think the rule necessarily is more the fact that a person wants to have sex.
Yeah.
And a person wants to have sex right now, and they need it and they want it right now, and they're
Yeah.
willing to go for it. That's basically what it is. And eventually, maybe some people enjoy it. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe they don't have sex with a woman in consent. They want to have a woman forcing and fighting. Maybe that turns them on. You never know.
Yeah.
It's like how some men like small boys. You know, they're like young children. You know, how do you go and you know,
Blanket
find
define.
out and find the causality behind this. You can't
Yeah.
find the causality behind this. It's just human nature. It's that when a desire becomes that strong, it has to be met.
Okay.
Demand and supply have to meet. So if whatever desire there is, everything must be met with a supply. That's how life goes. So
How do we effectively address this then?
address it. How to try fix it.
Not necessarily fixing it. How could men channel it in a way that it cannot be imposing on women that don't want it, and sort of just channel it in a way that is more positive and not invading another woman's space?
So the man was basically created primarily for like 3 or 4 points. Like number 1, leadership. Number 2, provision. Number 3, leadership. 1, 2, protection. 3, 1, leadership. 2, protection. 3, provision, and 4, dominion. Right? So we're natural born leaders. That's what makes men. Masculine energy is about leadership. Number 2, we provide or we protect. Then we provide, and then we want to take over things. That's why men will go and take over things. It's about war. It's about all these things. It's all been started by men, right? So what men require first and foremost in any situation is mission. That's number 1. So when a person, whether male or female, has got no purpose or no meaning in life, they distract themselves with pleasure. This is what happens in life. So the first thing you have to look at is say, okay, cool, what was man meant to be? What was man supposed to be? And then if man is not doing that, then what happens? You have the issue over there. That is the first part. Because now if a person isn't happy with themselves, what's going on? When a man beats a woman, why is a man beating a woman? Why does he feel a certain way because it's control, right? But it comes from a place of insecurity. Because I'm looking at it, maybe you're trying to fight, maybe you're trying to argue, and then eventually it's like, actually, I don't have to put up with this, and you slap a woman through the face. Why is it the situation? Because you feel insecure. So you have a lot of men right now in society who are insecure with high self-esteem. So now you've got high self-esteem, you believe you're this person, whether it happens culturally, whichever way it goes, then all of a sudden, but you're insecure inside. And then your woman maybe gets a text from some guy or something happens, then boom, you know, or she disrespects you in a certain way. And the thing is that we have to understand in life is the fact that, you know, all men don't need love. Men want respect. That's all men want. Women need love, but men want respect.
Yeah.
Which is why a man doesn't need you to go and say, oh, no, respect the man. That's what he wants. So in that situation, the reason why men are where they are right now is that men lack mission. And so because you lack mission, all of a sudden you distract yourself with so many other pleasures out there that you have to now, because no man you can't stand still. You're going to have to do something tomorrow. You have to be, so long as you're alive, you're going to want things. You're going to want to go places. You're going to want to do things, because you can't necessarily just stand still. So what happens then if you're not occupied with your mission and things that you want to do with your life, all of a sudden you've got all these, you'll call them bestial desires, if you want to call them that. You know, you've got perverse desires that you want, and that's what happens in society, because the man was created to have a mission.
Yeah.
You were meant to have a mission, which is why even if you look at biblical terms, they made Adam to have a mission first. Only when he had his mission afterwards, they say, let us make Eve the helper towards this mission. Only when he had named the animals, named the plants, did whatever, they said it is not good for this man to be alone. Not necessarily any man. It is not good for this man to be alone, who has a mission, knows where he's going, knows the story, wada. The woman comes and helps. Because the thing is, women were created complete. Men have to become.
Yeah.
That's the difference with men and women. We have to become. We have to go and do whatever. We have to go and, you know, express ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's how we become. But women they already were created complete.
Yeah.
Which is why
That's dope.
nothing was wrong with Eve eating the apple, because she wasn't given the mission. But man was given the mission. That's why the issue was there, because now when he ate the apple and whatever it was, that's when you have what you call sin, which is deviating from who you're supposed to have been. It's not necessarily, oh, it was wrong. No, you deviated. That's how it goes.
Yeah. And I remember you spoke on, you know, that these issues are sort of character based as well. It's a character problem. Do you mind just speaking on that as well? Because I feel like it's important for, you know, and I even asked you and I was like, how do we then teach older men about character? How do we teach them? How will they learn? Because they're at an older stage and sort of their character has already been formed. How do we make them unlearn at such an older age?
So firstly, character. We all get what character is. Character is literally making that or in such a way that integrating your private and private life, right? You mustn't, when you have a person who has character, has got no private life, has got no public life, you're one thing. You're integrated, you're holy, you're righteous, whatever you want to call it. That's what character is about, right? So what happens in society is that we see that you have men that have a lack of character because, give a person 3 things. If you want to test a man's character, give him 3 things. Give him money, give him power, give him access to sex. Then you'll test the man's character. But character itself is not developed by teaching. It's developed through adversity. It's like any other muscle. You train it via strength. You train you pick up weights, same with character. So that is why a man requires mission. See, a mission is where you're able to go and harness and understand your character. And you build your character through adversity. So what happens that now when men don't have character, they're walking around life, with no mission, no direction. And what happens then? Because you have to do some things, like I said, you've got perverse desires. That's what happens. So what you're seeing in society with people is that you're seeing a lack of character, which is why it's corruption. People say power corrupts. No, all power does is it reveals corruption. When a person has access to sex, all it does is it reveals corruption, right? So for me, it's like, I've got a girlfriend, but I don't not cheat on her because the fact that I love her, whatever. That's fine. That's also a reason. But it's because of the fact that I am a person, what I say is what I want to do. It's a matter of saying it's my character, it's my principles that I live under. You know what I mean? And it's every man has to have that level of code. And so you can't necessarily, with older people, you can't necessarily go, you can't teach somebody that doesn't want to be taught anything new. And like I said to you, it's like racism. How do you address racism at a macro level? You can't address it. It's a subconscious thing. It's running in the background. So a lot of these problems that we have with older people, they have to just die out. They have to be, they have to die out, but we must focus on the younger people. That's where you go teach, and that requires leadership. Now, leadership is not necessarily just, teach, lead. No. It's a matter of saying that we don't have enough people in society that have basically went and have become examples for people to follow, because the mind can't be something that it does not know. It's a matter of exposure. So it's like, do we have leaders in our society? Do we have leaders? That's the question you have to ask yourself right now. And the thing is, who are leaders? Men. Only men can teach men. Women can't teach men. That's another thing, right?
100%.
So when women are quality, men are motivated. But when men are quality, the world is lost. Why? Because men are supposed to do this. When we men are the people, are the builders of society. So the whole thing necessarily is about, like, we require people or men to pick up their what would I say, their baton, and actually utilize who they are and what they're about. Because now we have women in situations where they don't have gifting in. Women are now gaining masculine properties right now, which they don't have gifting in. And that becomes a problem, because now where does the man fit into society now? That creates more frustration. Where does the man fit into? Where does the man doesn't have his place anymore? Because he doesn't want to define that. No, he doesn't see examples of that. You have a situation where there's no fathers.
I'm glad that you said he doesn't want to. It's not that woman, and I think it's an important thing that we need to just reiterate is that he did not take it up to do it.
Yes.
The woman had to take over because he didn't take the baton.
Yeah, women are frustrated now. And
yes.
I'd also be pissed off right now. I mean, I look at it sometimes and if I was a woman nowadays, it's difficult, because how do you now go risk yourself? Because when men don't know who they are, women are in trouble. That's what you have to understand. For me, it's like, I understand. I'm with my girlfriend. She knows my story. She knows what I'm trying to do. She knows where I'm trying to go. She knows what I'm about. And so I'm so focused on my mission that I don't have time for stupid things. I'm excited about my mission, because that's why men have got wider attention spans than women, right? Which is why men can watch soccer for 90 minutes. Women are like, how can you guys sit down for 90 minutes and watch this game? Because that's who we are. We can focus long. That's how it's a gifting that we've got. So when you aren't taking that energy and that attention span and putting into something and building society, you have an issue.
Sure.
Now men are watching too much sports out there in society. Now you're going out too much. You're trying to get success so you can get women. Men just want to get laid and they want to have fun. That's what men want to do. But they also have a natural inclination to build things and to lead. That's what men are. Which is why men look at other men and say, oh, look what that guy's doing. And they're inspired by that. Why? It's innate. So, it's the thing of saying, like I said, that the first thing we need to address is mission. We have to address mission with men. Men need to be able to say, okay, cool, we must take responsibility for what we're supposed to do, and not let women take this on, because the more women take this on, the more frustrated we are. And then the more frustrated men are, the more abuse is going to be, because now a man is intimidated by his woman, and then what happens? Boom. So for me, it's like, my woman does whatever she does, I do what I do, but I'm not intimidated by what she does, because I'm in my lane.
Yeah.
I'm not sinning. Right? I'm living in my line. And so if I'm a soccer player and you're a basketball player, I'm not going to be envious of you being a basketball player, because I'm Cristiano Ronaldo over here. That's what I'm doing. Why would I be upset by that? And that's what you need to have. You need to have a symbiotic relationship where you've got one person doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, and this person doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, and they must come together. And that's what I'm saying, is that we have to redefine what relationships are. Because our definition comes from what our parents did. A woman being at home, man going to go work. What happens when modern society changes? What happens when things are not the way they used to be anymore? there's no lions coming up every single day fighting to come kill us. So that thing of fighting all the time isn't necessary.
Okay.
So it's that men need to respect themselves more, and it's about that mission aspect, like I said. And you can't really find one blanket or one solution to everything, but it's about saying that it's lack of leadership. It's men not being very insecure, but they have very high self-esteem, feeling entitled. And because with us it's about a show. We men want to show each other. It's like I can have sex with you today, but it doesn't count until I've told one of my friends. That's how men are. It doesn't count. Women can kiss and tell, but men, we have to at least tell one person. Then it counts, because for us it's a game. We keep score, which is money. Money's we want to go and have mine. I've got more money than you. Oh, this game I beat you in this game. Oh, that's 3-2.
Oh, look at my car.
That's what we are. We're attracted to games. That's what men are. We keep score. That's why men like attractive women, because it's like, look at my girlfriend, she's fresh. Men don't like ugly women. That's a fact of life. It's the truth.
Sure. I mean, everyone in studio, guys, right now is just like in awe. Everyone is laughing. The men in here are sweating.
Am I lying? I'm not lying.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Louis. Wow. Okay. I mean, you've answered everything. Like, I can't even begin to try and address this, because when I tried to think of asking you this question, you've already answered it. And when I try to think to ask you this question, you've already answered it. So it's pretty much done.
But you must understand that it's only the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying right now is because I have, for what I've become, for achieving the mastery I've achieved, I've suffered for this.
Yeah.
Right? I've suffered for this. And I know I say what I say because I used to be that person back in the days where, because I had so much time, they say an idle mind is a devil's playground, right? So there's a difference between the active and the inactive. So you find that a lot of the things that happen is because of inactivity. So it's light is an energy on itself.
Yeah.
Sound is an energy on itself. So light is energy, but darkness is a lack of light. It's an absence of light. So darkness is not an energy by itself. So when there's sound, there's sound. When there's silence, it's the absence of sound. So heat is an energy by itself, it's a vitality, but cold is the absence of it. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So when you aren't active, you're inactive. And so when I was inactive, when I wasn't busy with doing whatever I was doing and I just had so much time to myself, I was inactive. And when you're inactive, what happens then? Your mind starts looking at what other inactive people are doing. Now all of a sudden you're looking at, okay, cool, I was the guy, because I knew I could get girls back in the days, I was like, well, let me go, let me have my pick, let me do what I do, and so women are there, they're liking me, it's like, oh, whatever, and I'm there lying, I'm cheating, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I was that person because I didn't have a mission. Why is it when I had a mission that everything gets sorted out?
Yeah.
Why is that the situation? Because you see, nature requires order. The first law of heaven is order. In fact, the word heaven, its root word is Greek word is heros, which it means harmony. So you understand that the first law of nature is order. So I was disorderly, I was dysfunctional, I was not in my mission.
You were sinning.
I was sinning. And only when I decided, actually, I don't want to be around like I'm a bird, I should be flying. Now here I am. When you take a fish out of the water, it dies. And so that's what happens with us. Only when I discovered these things painfully that I get you. And so now my thing is that I am trying to build society. I'm trying to build a new way for people to go a different direction, because we can't operate the way we've operated anymore, which is why corruption is rife in our society anymore. We must take responsibility. I can't look at society and leave it alone. I can't let society deteriorate. I have to become better. I have to become, responsible. And that's what people have to do. Men can't sit down, or women, we can't sit down and just let things be. Take up your sword. Become responsible. Be better. Become a better person. Become a better version of yourself. Take up the challenge. Stop sitting there complaining and moaning. We all moan and complain, and we moan and bitch. Oh no, society is this, whatever. No, sit down, stop talking shit, and get on with it. You know what I mean?
How would you recommend? So I'm going to give you three, maybe three men or young boys. So a boy that's in high school, a boy that's in university, and a guy that's working a 9-to-5 corporate. And each of them they haven't really quite identified their purpose and their calling. How would you say they should sort of align themselves? How can they align themselves with their calling? How can they align themselves with identifying what their divinity is? I know it's not a blanket. I'm not trying to make it a blanket approach.
It actually is a blanket.
Oh, really? Oh, fantastic. Really? Oh, wonderful. Okay, so if you can just help me with that.
So basically, you aren't born with purpose, you cultivate it. Right. That's a very interesting way of looking. You cultivate it. So it's that I'm only good at what I'm doing right now because I've cultivated this. When I come and I speak and I stand on stage and I teach people what I teach, is because I've cultivated this over time. So, but the problem is that how do you identify it in its initial form?
Yeah.
That's the problem now.
Yes.
So the thing is, people look at what they do. They look at something that they like something. They're looking at it, and they look at what someone else in their final form is doing.
Yeah.
And then they're like, ooh, I suck. You know, you look at somebody who's been playing piano for 30 years and you like piano, but you play one key and you're like, ooh, I suck. First things first. Those things you're drawn to, you are going to suck at them in the beginning, and that's okay. That's okay. There's no one out of nowhere. You wake up in the morning, then you're this great person. What you do, you're going to have to find that everyone has got those things that they're drawn to, but those things must be cultivated. So it's a matter of putting time and energy into it, because where your attention goes, power flows. Right? So on the weekends, when you've got time, you know what you're drawn to. It's a fact of life. You know, the nice thing about people is all you have to do is look at a person's life and see what are they drawn to without someone having to tell you. Because what you do, what you read when you don't have to, determines who you will be when you can't help it.
Sure.
Right? That's powerful. I'll repeat that. What you do, what you read when you don't have to, determines who you will be when you can't help it.
Sure.
Right? So what happens then is a matter of saying, okay, cool. Now you as a young kid in high school, what did I do when I was younger? I was playing computers. I was doing what I was doing. I was learning, not necessarily learning, but I was playing. Don't take those things you're playing with for granted. Learn how to harness those things. Pay attention to what you're doing. Gifts are very hidden things. You know what I mean? Especially when you don't have parents that can say, oh, there's a gift. Right?
Yeah.
Know that those things could mean something. Trust those things. A person in university, my advice to you is that you also have those kinds of inclinations as well. But the whole thing is that don't let your life just be about studying. Meet people. Go out there. Express yourself. Read. Very important thing. High school, people to read in high school, that's too much. Read. People complain, oh no, I want the method to become a better person, or how do I do it and change in one day? Read. People don't read.
Sure.
The average person, the average CEO in this world reads about 300 books a year, right? The average person after 25 reads less than one book their whole life after they graduate. Less than one book. Then they wonder why the average CEOs are paid over 400 times more. It's all up here. The game is all one in the mind before it's one anywhere else. A person in 9 to 5, it's what are you doing on the weekends, bro? And girl, what are you doing on the weekends? You complain about the fact that you hate what you're doing, whatever, you don't have time, you don't, whatever. What are you doing on the weekends? Because if on the weekends you're at neighborhoods, that's your problem. If you're on Sunday you're doing whatever, that's your problem. You have to draw back and say, actually, let me sit down, let me watch less series, let me just get on with something. And the people like make excuses about, oh, I don't have time. No, shut up, get to work. Use the time that you've got, apply yourself. That's why I'm saying purpose is cultivated. It's not just, you don't just wake up and say, oh, it's my purpose. No. And purpose is, it's organic. It's ever changing. It's ever growing. But you must basically define and say that you want to do this thing, you want to contribute. And that's what it is. Purpose is about living larger than what you are. So it's not necessarily, there's no great method, microwave method. It takes time. And you must know it takes time. There's no microwave. It took me, the book that's coming out next month, I've written 3 books before this.
Sure.
2 books, 1 book failed.
How many years did it take you?
I wrote that first book in 2009.
Yeah.
So it's been 10 years now to get you, right? But I'm in my purpose, I'm in my zone. I am beasting in my zone. I'm the best at what I do, right? Because it's taking me that time. I'm not coming here teaching you or telling you about some quick way, press down, shake it together method. No, it takes time, it hurts. But that's what the price of expressing yourself is. It's not sacrifice, it's the price that you pay. You buy a car for 500,000 rand, that's not a sacrifice, it's the price you pay. Stop looking at it like that. It's what you want. So for me, I wanted freedom. I wanted to be free. I wanted to create. I wanted to express. I wanted to teach. I wanted to be this. And I had to be honest with it. And when you're honest with what you want, you're only effective when you're authentic. That's a fact.
Very good.
If you're inauthentic, you're never going to be effective. And that's why stick to your lane. Know what your story is. Don't be upset other people are ahead of you. Stick to your lane. Thrive in your lane. And think big. Stop thinking small. Stop calling it a small business. Call it something more powerful. Be more intentional. Choose your vocab very, very wisely. Don't go and just say things about your life. Be very intentional with how you put things together. You know what I mean? It's we're taught how to be weak, but we're not taught how to be powerful. And power is a different story. You have to intentionally want it. You know what I mean? And I'm very passionate with it because we're taught how to live life in defense mode, and not in attack mode. And with defense, you can people won't score against you when you're playing in defense, but you can't win games like that.
100%.
You get what I'm trying to say? So you have to be intent. You have to be like, you have to go for it. You have to be like, I want this, and give me freedom or give me death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't come here and half-ass and half-want things, so you're never gonna get them. If you kind of want something, you'll kind of get it, and that's basically what it is. It's express yourself. Be everything you can be. Like, just express it. Like, go. When you die, don't let it be about your life and look at me like, oh, we used to go out back then. We used to have fun. No, leave things behind. Let your life live through, or basically live through your art after you die. You know what I mean? Your art is important. That's what it is. Art is not just drawing, it's
Very
your
good.
expression of who you are. Let your art outlive you.
Yes.
Not fame, influence. Fame is a flame, it dies, but influence is what you leave behind afterwards. Till this day, I listen to Michael Jackson, I'm dancing like Michael Jackson and when I'm playing Michael Jackson, because that's influence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what life is supposed to be. It's about contribution. And when you're living in that, when you're in that aspect of your life, you don't have time to go, you know, raping women and doing all these stupid things, because now you're proud of who you are. Because when you respect yourself, you don't worry. If someone doesn't like you, it's okay. If a girl doesn't like me, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm dope. I don't need you to come in and approve me. If you like me, it's one more person that likes me. But I like myself enough for anything else.
That's very good.
And that's because of the pain and the isolation. Is I've lost everything. I know what it's like to lose. Who are people when they've got nothing? Who are people when they lose everything? That's another question. You know what I mean? But
Yes.
anyway, I can go on forever.
Just before you go though, your spiritual practice, and also just what do you do to sort of cultivate your divinity?
To cultivate divinity, ooh, that's
Yeah.
a whole different conversation.
Oh, really?
Take on challenge. You know, it's like, what does scripture say? It says that my strength is made perfect in your weakness. It's a scripture, right? It's even in the Sanskrit. It's also there. You know, go into the dark and see if I will not find you there. It's in the Sanskrit. You know, I think it's also in the Quran itself also. So you find that when you're in challenge, when you're growing, that's what growth is about. You know, the needs of the spirit are two: growth and expression. Is it growth? Yeah, it is growth and expression. Those are the needs of the spirit. Personality, it's love. You know, it's love. It's acceptance. It's what is the first need of the personality? It's being able to being accepted, being able to be loved, being able to mean something to somebody else and meaning something to yourself. That's the needs of the personality. We do those very well. But the needs of the spirit are growth and expression. So you have to grow. You have to express yourself. You have to take on challenge. That's what you do. That's how you cultivate your strength, your divinity. Which is why when you do something, when you take on more challenge, you're able to be more good at it the next time. So that's how life goes. So that's my spiritual practice. That's what it is. I take on challenge and I chart new courses and I build other people up, because it's about building other people to be leaders. Everybody's a leader in an area of their gifting.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily we must all be followers. No, every person is a leader in an area of their gifting. So I teach people how to be leaders. You know, you get different kinds of leaders, but I think that once a person can be a leader in their own gifting, they awaken other people, and then they give people an unconscious ability or desire to be themselves. And that's power.
Shoo.
That's what it is. Because belief is contagious. Belief in oneself is contagious. That's why when you see someone doing what you're doing, you're like, oh wow, I'm inspired. What is that word? The word inspire comes from the word inspirare, meaning to breathe life in. That's what it means. So it's about taking on the challenge and trusting your gut, trusting the process, knowing that everything will happen. Just take on the pain and expect that it's not unique to you. It's just what comes with it. It's the price.
Do you meditate, pray also? Yoga?
No, so like prayer is not necessarily, even prayer has been taught to us wrong. I'll drop that one as well. Prayer is not necessarily about moving God. Prayer is bringing your mindset to the thing. So it's almost like we think that you sit down and you're like, oh God, please help me with this. No. The thing is, I'm going to go into a whole other thing.
No, but I need you to, because that is very true. I think people don't know that.
So
and they need to know it.
So how life works is that they say that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, right? But the heart, if you change the word heart, it means subconscious mind. So what is your inner conversation? We all are living off of the fruits of our own inner conversation. So what goes inside of yourself is what's going to be expressed on the outside, right? So the whole thing is that it's about affirming to yourself what exactly you're trying to do. And when a desire takes hold of you that is strong, it needs expression in reality. So what happens is that now you will go and you will call and you'll do things that take you towards your highest values. So it's like if you like somebody, right? Because you like somebody, you'll call them. What is that power? It's a desire that must be expressed, right? Cool. So the whole thing of prayer is repeating those words to yourself so that it takes root in your subconscious mind.
Yes.
So when you bring whatever when you basically affirm what you want so strongly to your subconscious mind, you're pulled towards it. So prayer doesn't move God; it moves you towards the thing that you want. That's what prayer is. It's not, you don't go there and beg and say, well, ask and you receive is not, ask and you shall receive is not, please God help me. The word ask means to claim.
Shoo.
Right? That's what the word means.
Okay.
So meditation itself is a matter of, people like to go and sit and they meditate and they try finding spiritual things that they have to do. But the main thing really is the fact that meditation is about how do you control your attention? How do you, it's about controlling what you're thinking about.
Focusing your energy.
That's it. So, like I said, your thoughts, I haven't said this, but your thoughts basically determine your beliefs. Your beliefs determine your actions. Your actions determine your habits. Your habits determine your life. So the whole thing of meditation that they're trying to do is not to be, oh, I'm free and all that bullshit. It's about being able to have a time for yourself, just have time out for yourself and spend time with yourself alone. The Muslims have on Friday, the Jews have Saturday, the Christians apparently should have Sunday, but they spend the time at church. The whole thing is about being able to spend time alone.
So good,
There is there's not this sitting down, this technique when you're meditating, play. There's no, spend time alone. Be able to know those thoughts. Write them down. Write thoughts down. That's meditating. Write things down. Know what's coming out, because what's coming out is what you're going to express.
Yes.
It's what you're going to attract to you. It's what the law of attraction says. I mean, that's one of 12 laws. They teach one law, but there's 12 laws in the universe. You know what I mean? It's a whole other conversation. And we're just focusing on that specific thing, but it's true. You attract what you are. Anyway, we can go on with all this stuff.
Very good, Louis. I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Okay.
Where can people find you? And I know you're going to be having a seminar soon, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my book launch.
Yes, when is that going to be happening?
My book launch, you can pre-order my book at www.tmcglobal.co, not com.co, tmcglobal.co. So that's where you can pre-order the book. My next seminar is going to be a book launch. So first 100 people to purchase the book will have seats. It'll probably be in October, November, depending on when it's done. And you can find me at social media, Instagram, Twitter, Master Louis, Master LUI _ Lohokla, which is www.lohokla.global, alcohol spelled backwards, global.com. You can find that at Pick and Pay, at airports, in the UK soon, and garages, and basically, and on bottles. So some bottles from next week, bottles.
Yay!
So and the book will be out of exclusive books nationwide when it's out, and that's it. Boom.
Louis, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you came in today and you agreed to be put on the spot like this.
It's okay.
Did you enjoy the conversation?
A lot came out.
I think I'm going to need to bring you back. They might want you to come back to sort of come in and unpack other things. So, siblings, thank you so much for your time, for your ears, for your hearts, for your spirits, and the siblings.
Siblings.
Yes, because it's conversations with my big sister.
Big brother today.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Big brother. Oh, by the way, I'm going to have to give like a reading list out there before we go.
Please do that.
Number 1, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh.
And also, please do write it down for me, because I think we're going to need to attach it with the tweet that we're going to be sending out.
Okay, so James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. I recommend Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
I love that book. I read it every morning before I start my day.
What other book? Let me see. Let me go a bit more. 7 Habits of Effectively Highly People by Stephen Covey. And one more for the advanced readers out there, I would say Deep Work by Cal Newport. Yeah, that's 4.